Hello, Exploring Foods with Smitty. Foodies, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to this edition of Buttermilk Pie. Yep, that's what I said. Buttermilk Pie. And this is one of those recipes that were made back in the day that people enjoyed. Make sure you look at the history of buttermilk pie. Okay, so let's talk about buttermilk pie. Buttermilk pie is a significant component of Black cultural heritage in the southern United States, deeply intertwined with the history of the enslaved experience. The ingenuity of the African American cooks and the resourcefulness required to create comfort food with limited staple ingredients. Often referred to as a desperation pie or make do pie, it gained popularity as a way to utilize readily available, inexpensive pantry staples like buttermilk, eggs, sugar, and butter. Here's a breakdown of the connection between buttermilk pie and Black history. Desperation delight. Originating from English roots, the pie became a Southern staple, particularly in Texas, when fresh fruit was scarce and unavailable, forcing cooks to rely on what they had on hand. The culinary resourcefulness. Enslaved people and later generations of Black cooks transformed simple, inexpensive ingredients, buttermilk, sugar, eggs, and butter, into a rich custard-like dessert. The connection to slavery and emancipation, food historians such as Natalie Wright Moore Clark use buttermilk pie to tell the story of the enslaved experience in Texas, specifically connecting to the plantation life and the post-emancipation era. Symbolism. It serves as a reminder of the ingenuity and the resilience of African American ancestors who created delicious, cherished, and comforting food from limited resources. Okay, similarities to other historic dishes. Chess pie. Often buttermilk pie is closely related to or considered a variation of chess pie. Vinegar pie. It shares a similar desperation pie origin with often other forgotten African American recipes, such as vinegar pie. Red velvet cake. The use of buttermilk and vinegar, which gives the cake its tangy flavor, is also a staple in traditional African American popularized red velvet cakes. The Jefferson Davis pie. Food historian Dan Wallert notes the existence of Jefferson Davis pie, which was reportedly created by a slave woman in Missouri, and its name may have been associated with the dessert post-Civil War, reflecting the complex history of the era. The modern legacy of these desserts, Thanksgiving and holidays. Buttermilk pie remains a beloved staple for holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas, passed down through generations of families. Okay, so what we're going to do now in our mixing bowl, we're going to add 1 cup of white sugar and a half of cup of melted cooled butter and a tablespoon of cornstarch and a half of teaspoon of salt. Okay, so let's do that. Are you with me? This is like a really strange pie, but it's one of those pies that I'm telling you, I just love it. So let's move this bowl over out of my way, like so. And then I'm going to put this bowl here because this is what we're going to mix our sugar in. So let's go over that again. We're going to mix in a cup of white sugar. And we're going to put in a 1/2 cup of melted, cooled butter. Make sure your butter is cool. Okay. Looks pretty cool to me. Okay, so we're going to pour that in. And a 1/2 cup of butter is just a stick, is what it is. It's a stick of butter. Okay. Down to that, I am going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I have it all in here. Let's go ahead and pour that in. I want to make sure I get it all out. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to mix this with my whisker until it's all combined. Don't make it too much noise, I'm sorry. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the two mixtures. The egg mixture with the buttermilk and the vanilla, and the white sugar and the melted butter, the cornstarch, and the salt. And I'm going to combine the two mixtures and whisk until thoroughly blended. So let's go ahead and take this and let's pour this in. I'm telling you, it smells good already, and I haven't even put it in the oven. That's pretty sad, huh? There we go. So let's go ahead and get this mixed together. I'm just gonna whisk it for a minute. And what I'm gonna do is use the blender because it mixes better to me than a whisk. Okay, so let's put that over there. Let's put it over there so it doesn't fall. Let's make sure you can still see. And let's mixy. Okay, so that looks like it's pretty well combined to me. Put this over here. I don't want this to drip on the table, so I'm gonna put it there, which I gotta clean the table anyway, but still. Okay, so just let me take this and go around with my whisk just to make sure. Yep, all good to go. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is to add this to my uncooked pie shell. Some people pre-bake their pie shells when they make pies, but I've never done that. I've always just cooked it in like this. I'm so excited. Yeah, this can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, but I think I like it. Okay. Let's put this over here because I don't want it to get in the way. Okay, so I'm going to put my pie crust here. And you know what? It looks like I might have to make 2 pies. I maybe should have got a deep dish one, but I didn't. Okay, so if I make 2 pies, somebody's going to be happy. Yep, gonna have to make 2. Okay, so that's 1. Another one. And this is number 2. This one doesn't seem as full as that one, but that's okay. It'll work out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put this into the oven, and I'm going to bake it at 350. Well, it says, 55 minutes. And you're going to let it cool completely before you partake in it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven, and we're going to let it bake. And when we get it baked, I'm going to come back to you. See you in a little bit. Okay, so like it's almost time for the buttermilk pies to come out. Okay, while I'm waiting for the pies to come out the oven, let me give you the full recipe. That's 3 eggs, 1.5 cup of buttermilk, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a half a cup of melted and cooled butter, 1 cup of white sugar, a tablespoon of cornstarch, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a 9-inch unbaked pie crust. Please make sure it's deep dish, or you will get a card-sized pie like mine were. Enjoy! And another thing, these recipes are important to our culture, and it's so important that we keep these recipes going. Ooh, I might let them get a little dark because it all depends on your oven that you're cooking them on. So what I'm going to do is take these and set them over there so that they can cool down. And after they cool down, we're going to have a taste. They look awfully beautiful though. So see you in a bit. Okay, so our pie is all ready to try. Let's get a taste of this lovely buttermilk pie, known back in the day as a desperation pie. Let me try to get this out of here without breaking it. Yeah, I would say next time, if you make this pie, definitely use a deep dish pie crust, because this one's kind of small. But anyway, it's about the taste. So let's go ahead and give it a taste. Nice and creamy. It definitely hits your sweet tooth. A pie that's very simple, but yet very delicious. I have always loved this pie. But as I said, when you make it, get a deep dish crust. But please do try it. So, thank you for joining me on this edition of Buttermilk Pie. Please give it a try. You'll be glad you did. Known as Desperation Pie. See you on the next one.